Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about metacognition, which is our sort of big key word for this unit this week, and also we'll be making reference to it throughout the rest of the semester, and hopefully you'll be able to then use it through the rest of your college career and life. It's a large word, it's a compound word, meta and cognition. So meta, if that's a new term for you, just generally is a prefix that means outside of, or from the outside looking in, over and above. If something is meta, then it is not just about what's going on in the moment, but also standing outside of whatever is going on in the moment and making commentary on it. One of the best ways I can think of to describe this is if any of you are television fans, right now, most people who are fans of what we call serious television will watch a show, but then also there exists an entire blogosphere around it that consists solely of commentary and on reviews and recaps and people who make jokes. We all also have cultural memes that you can find all over the internet. And if you participate in online culture, if you read any blogs at all that analyze anything to do or comment on anything to do with popular culture, then you're being part of a kind of meta-analysis of the texts that we're consuming, the shows, the music, movies, books, anything that we're consuming as individuals in the culture. So if we're talking about metacognition, then we're standing outside of, over and above, looking at, analyzing cognition, which means thinking. So in a way, you can think of metacognition as thinking about your own thinking. This is really important for us because one of the most important things that you're going to have to do if you're thinking about writing an argument of any kind is understand the perspective and point of view of your audience, but also understand the perspectives and point of view that govern you. And the more aware you can be about why you hold the things you hold true, why those are true for you, then the better you will be able to explain it to another person, to know when you are engaging in bias and when you're being objective, to understand why some sources speak to you and not to others, and then also to empathize and engage with another person. We start in thinking about metacognition in this class with looking at the way that we read. We'll also later then think metacognitively about our writing. This is an important, vital skill for you as a researcher and then also as a writer, in addition to being a reader going forward. You need to be able to know why you're reacting to a particular text in the way that you are, and then take that knowledge to consider why others might react to texts that you create in the way that they do. One of the hardest things for any of us to do and to learn to do when we're first starting out with developing argumentative writing is to create empathy. Empathy, of course, is feeling with another person, learning to think and feel like someone who isn't you. It's difficult to do, it takes a lot of practice, and we're going to be practicing with that in this course. The best thing you can do, really, to develop empathy in this way is to read metacognitively. Read a lot and think about why you're reacting the way that you are. So if you'll notice in this same page, I've got a metacognitive reading journal heuristic uploaded, in addition to an extended definition of metacognition, which you should definitely peruse and read. I expect you to have become familiar with everything that's in that document by the time we end this week. If you'll pull up the Metacognitive Reading Journal heuristic now, though, I want to talk you through it just briefly. Heuristic is another term that we'll be using quite a bit in this course, and it's also a term that may be new for you. Heuristic is a type of analysis. Essentially, it means a problem-solving tool. What you've got in front of you now, or should have, and if you don't, please pause the video and get it in front of you so we can make reference to it. What you should have in front of you now in that Metacognitive Reading Journal heuristic is a set of questions, a checklist, if you will. What you want to use that for is not simply just to answer the questions and then turn it in like a worksheet, but answer those questions and then using your answers, write the journal entry that I'm going to have you write, summing up your findings. So this will be easier if we're talking specifically. And I'm going to pull up the reading journal heuristic myself as well. If you look at that document, it's split into 3 basic sections under reading checklist. And the first is general reading, the second, comprehension of the text, and then third, reactions to the text. So you'll notice that sort of metacognitive reading process comes in 3 stages. The first is considering what your general approach, perspective, thoughts, experience with reading, and reading for school, but reading in general, is. And there are 7 questions in that section. Do I want you to answer all 7 questions? Yes, I do. Answer them for yourself. Those are going to apply and then affect the way that you read everything that we do. So answer them for yourself. Think about your general attitude. Think about your experiences in the past. Think about how those have affected the way that you read now. And then the answers that you generate there for questions 1 through 7, notice every time we do a metacognitive reading journal how those come into play for all of our readings. After you've answered those questions about general reading, move into the second section, comprehensions of the text. Now here, we're not talking just about something that can apply to all of your different readings. Now we're dealing with a specific text, which you're reading for this week, or in the weeks that follow when we have metacognitive reading journals. And here, we are thinking about what you understood about the text and why you did or didn't understand it. What in your background helped you to understand or barred you from understanding it. The third section then is not about understanding, but about how you felt and how you reacted to it and how you want to respond yourself. And notice, I'm not simply asking you what you thought, how you felt, whether you agreed or disagreed. I'm asking you why you disagreed or agreed. And this is a very big difference. This is not about your opinion. Yes, it is sort of about your opinion. First, you need to know how you respond. But I'm more interested in what made that response. Who have you brought with you? What have you brought with you that have made it impossible for you to respond in any other way? There are people in the world who will suggest that everything we do is determined by the set of circumstances and the context, which we'll talk more about next week, in which we arrive. That no matter what we do, that choice was always made for us by the things that came before that choice. And that's kind of the approach that we're taking a little bit with this document. You have a reaction to it. It is your own. It's your own thought. But what made that thought happen for you? What have you already taken in? So, answer these questions for yourself. Answer them on a separate piece of paper or in a document or just in your own mind. In order to finish your journal for this week and every week when we have a metacognitive reading journal, I want you to answer the questions and then take all of those answers and somehow construct a short response that explains all of this to me, that explains your metacognition, that explains your metacognitive analysis of your reaction to the article. Do I want to see it as a bulleted list of all of these questions? No. Do I want to just see the answers to all of these questions appear? No. I want you to do this as research, to do this as background, and then take that information and present it to me in the form of a tiny little essay or paragraph. Again, as always, if you have any questions about that, please shoot me an email. This is going to take some practice and some time for a lot of us. It's something that we don't necessarily do a whole lot of in other spheres, but we're going to do a lot of it in this class. So again, good luck.